Hello and more. Well, geez, man, just off today. Just off. Absolutely off. Hello and welcome to the morning after show. My name is Joshua Reimer, and hopefully I can get things back on track for myself today. Jared, we had a good week one. I know you ended up smashing on draft or week one. See, just completely off. Take it away. Just you talk, Jared. I'll just stand here and take a sip of water, and hopefully can get back together.
Yeah, dude. It's been a morning. We're both extremely tired, and that's
Yeah.
it's always how Mondays seem to start out for us. Anyway, the NFL streak came to an end yesterday. I lost on FanDuel for the main slate, won on DraftKings. So we're still feeling it. We're still hot, but all things have to come to an end eventually. So I'm looking to get back at it tonight. And what another, I always say this like, what a wild weekend, but this one was specifically crazy.
Yeah, it was specifically crazy. I mean, just all over the board, we had crazy games. We had spots that just things happened that just didn't make sense to me,
Yeah.
and it was certainly an interesting weekend. It was a good weekend though. I know you went 2-2, so that's cut and even for me. Even if it was over on DraftKings, members should be playing the DraftKings content, and I went 3-1, 2 wins on DraftKings, 1 win on FanDuel. So like it was a good weekend overall. You should have made money if you played the content correctly. That's all I've got to say. Um, Anything else? How personally, like, how was your weekend? Anything fun happen?
Well, yeah, no, it was great. I'm planning my birthday stuff, like I told you, pre-show,
Yeah,
so that's been pretty fun. Can't wait for, I mean, it's a long season, but it'll be nice to have things after football that I get to look forward to as well.
for sure, definitely. I know we have a trip to look forward to during football, which is coming
Yeah,
in what,
yeah,
like almost a month exactly from now. I think
yeah.
we're getting pretty close there, so we're excited for that. We're hopefully going to do some special stuff for you guys. XY Games hits the good skill emoji. What's going on? Bacon 23. Good morning. Girl Dad subbing at tier 1. They've subbed for 9 months now. Thank you very much, man. We appreciate it here. All right, not many people in the chat. I'm not. I mean, it's early. It's Monday. It's a weird time for us personally because MLB is done. Well, MLB is not done. We have the postseason now, but DFS wise, MLB is done for me. Podcast is done for me. And so,
Yep.
like, I have this nice little 2 week break, which I usually don't get. Usually, this 2 week section is pretty busy for me, regardless. But looks like it's going to be a nice little break for me, and hopefully for you as well.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be weird not having anything going on later during the day. I mean, we'll have obviously there's a lot going on in postseason baseball. There's obviously football going on still. I mean, we'll have the weekends are going to be jam packed no matter what.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of time to focus on playoff baseball and then esports for the next month during the week. So that's gonna be really fun to look forward to there.
Yeah, what esports starts this Wednesday, if I
Yep.
remember correctly. Is that
Uh-huh.
promo code out yet that we have? Can we pump that, or are we not allowed to?
I will definitely confirm we'll do it towards the end of the show.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, esports, the big tournament or the big, is it Worlds that starts Wednesday or something big starts Wednesday, and Anthony's gonna absolutely smash it like he always does. So make sure to check that out if you are not already an esports member, and if you are craving some DFS on this little off period, on this time that we have off for the next 2 weeks. Bacon 23 said, Jared, did you cash Showdown last night? Think you didn't win on FanDuel, but you won on DraftKings, correct?
Yep, I did. So the reason I won was because I had Antonio Brown in the captain spot and barely, barely won. So
Barely.
um, it was very close. I wasn't happy about it, but it was extremely close. So
Yeah,
I know that it was kind of a hit or miss for everybody.
gotcha. Um, Nothing else in the chat. I think I need to drum up some support. So, guys, keep an eye out on Twitter. Think about to put a tweet out there and give some people some free lunch since it is Monday, and I know everyone can use some free lunch on Monday. Um, we have a tweet out from here it is, some breaking news. Joe Mixon diagnosed with a low grade ankle sprain that will leave him week to week.
Oh,
Always Joe Mixon, man. Never fails that he gets an injury like right after a fourth of the season goes by.
yikes! That when did that come out? Because that was
Like
weird.
right now. Like right
Okay.
yeah.
That's weird that it came out on Monday and they played Thursday, but
Yeah, I
is what it
agree.
is. Joe Mixon getting hurt is
The
he would be
norm.
so good. And I thought that, last week was kind of like his introduction to being a good running back again. So,
Not so fast.
unfortunately, I guess that's not yeah.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. QDZ says free lunch, possibly. If you go check us out on Twitter, maybe we can get you some free lunch. Pretty sure that this weekend is my 1 year anniversary. Congratulations. That should not be something that you're pretty sure of. That should be something that you have nailed down, especially because it's year one. Like you should have that down and ready to go. QDZ says death taxes and Joe Mixon getting injured. Yeah, that is the norm, isn't it? Bacon23 said, I forgot I was part of the all access for the month, so I missed if you had a lineup. Jared, to access Jared's showdown stuff, you don't need all access. You need cash game.
Correct. Yes.
Or if you thought you were part of GPP, then that makes sense. But yeah, it is what it is. Okay. Anything else here on the introductory front? And if not, let's talk about. I think we have football coming up first.
Yeah, let's talk about what happened last night.
Yeah, let's do exactly that. Let's see if I have these segments. Oh, I don't have these segments right. All right, so we're just gonna talk about football right here, still on the or intro stuff, because for some reason I forgot to put in an NFL tab. That should tell you how early it is right now, for me at least. All right, so NFL was a lot of fun this weekend. We saw rookie redemption. That's the reason we have the title named Rookie Redemption. A lot of rookies ended up doing better than we thought they were going to do, or better than they have in weeks past, including Zach Wilson, who ended up getting the first win for the Jets on the season against my poor Titans, my second favorite team in the league, and just can't do anything. So, what are your thoughts on the Jets win? Is the Jets possibly turning things around, or is this just an anomaly against a Titans team that was really injured?
You think it's a combination of both things, and I don't want to discredit the Jets win because they definitely earned that. Obviously went to overtime and they had every chance to lose coming down the stretch. Um, there was it was in regulation. There was a specific third down that was a snap that went over Tannehill's head that knocked them out of field goal range. And then Derrick Henry doing his thing. I thought that, I was rooting for the Jets because we had their defense, but the Titans, it just felt like Derrick Henry was going to run one in overtime and end the game. But, they had some. They had some O-line issues yesterday. They lost another guy during the game, and obviously they weren't able to stretch the field with the guys that they had on the roster with no Julio and no AJ Brown. So that is going to impact how things go for this team. We'll see when these receivers come back. We already knew that they were going to be questionable every single week because both of those guys are injury prone. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, they gave Derrick Henry, ample amount of touches, like we expected, and he did. I don't know. He met the expectation that I kind of thought was going to happen for this team. But their defense, Josh, is probably the biggest thing to talk about from that Titans team moving forward. So a little bit of a combination of both things, although I will give credit where credit is due and say that Zach Wilson looked much better. This was his best NFL game by far, hands down. And if that's any indication of what we see from this team moving forward, then I think that it could be something where they turn into this underrated team, not this year, but over the next two seasons. Jamison Crowder being back and uh, Denzel Mims being active, so they actually have weapons that they can throw to. Yeah, look at Keelan Cole. Somehow he's still in the NFL.
Yeah.
Looked good yesterday, and yeah, I mean they have some underrated pieces, and now that they're all healthy and back on this team, we kind of saw what happened. And again, Tennessee's defense is bad, but it still was positive to see for the Jets. So I'm not going to take anything away from them.
Yeah. I'm I'm laughing. Of course, this comment caught me off guard. QGZ said Zach Wilson ate his big boy Wheaties yesterday. He certainly did. Like he looked
Yeah,
good throughout the
yeah.
game. I think that was, like you said, the best game that we've seen from him all season long as a rookie. And yeah, I mean, he still threw an interception, so it is what it is. It's just something I feel like you're gonna have to get used to with Wilson. But had 297, had a touchdown. Corey Davis went off with him, had a little bit of a revenge narrative against his former team. I found out, I was looking through Coach Talk, and he actually said earlier on in the week how he was mad that the Titans, or he was upset that the Titans let him go and
Really?
didn't pay him. Yeah, I found that he said that on like Monday or Tuesday. So
Hmm.
there was that. It was interesting, man. I was just shocked that the Titans couldn't get anything done. Like, I guess that Jets defense is, they're not bottom of the league to me anymore. I think this Titans defense though is probably bottom of the league.
Yeah, the Titans defense definitely is. The Jets defensive line is certainly a little bit underrated, but they got to Tannehill so much. So I don't know. I mean, I think it was a combination of a lot of things, and they got to a Titans team that was already down really, like they were, I don't know, on their hands and knees basically begging to try to get a win in this spot. But uh yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to say that the are good anytime soon,
Not
but
yet.
they definitely got what they played for yesterday.
Yeah, they certainly did get what they played for. All right, let's keep talking about rookies, because we saw another rookie do really well, and we can talk about the Sunday Night Football game. Let's talk about Mac Jones. I feel like everyone just expected Mac Jones to come into this game and just throw 3 picks and look like Davis Mills did in that Bills game. Like, everyone expected him
Yeah.
not to look good, but they made this adjustment, or Bill made this adjustment like halfway through the second quarter. I'm sure you picked up on it, where he was just calling plays at the line all of a sudden. Like, they weren't getting into huddles, they were going into no huddle offenses, they were getting spread out, and it really worked well for Mac Jones. So is that
Yeah.
something that you think they continue to do? Do you think they find success with that against future teams, or do you think it's a one-time thing?
I think it was a specific game plan for the Bucks, and we'll see if they do this again. But I'm sure that got him back in a rhythm now because he used to do that at college or in college. So I think that this Patriots team game plan specifically for that, and that's how they made that adjustment. They played up in pace, which again I was not. I was very surprised to see because they are the one of the slowest, if not the slowest, team in pace in the league. So getting that back up to speed might be a way to help that team a little bit. They've had some issues with the running back groups, especially last night against Tampa Bay, which was expected. But then, I don't know. I mean, he looked really good passing, and I think that we have to start paying attention. I know we've said this a few times, but Tampa Bay's secondary is really sus, like really suspect.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they lost another guy last night in Carlton Davis, which seems to be a long-term injury too. I don't know if we have final news or a diagnosis on that, but he like it's going to be rough. Whoever plays the Buccaneers, we're going to have to look out for that. So again, I thought I was one of those people that thought that Mac Jones was going to fall on his face. So he didn't, and that was really impressive to see.
Yeah, and not only that, but like, um, they lost Carlton Davis. They also lost Winfield Jr. as well, because he went out with a
Yep.
concussion towards the end of the game. So like, yeah, it was just tough sledding for that team. I think that the team's going to have a really tough time every week, and like, I feel like they really haven't been tested in that regard since like week one. And week one, at least they were a little bit more healthy at the secondary position. I'm curious. I want to look ahead to the schedule now.
Yeah,
Who do
it's not
they
going to start
face?
anytime soon.
Is it? Oh, it doesn't. All right, let's see here. Yeah, they have Dolphins next week, so definitely not going to start there. Eagles. I would like to say Hurts is going to do something, but probably not. Then Bears, then Saints, and yeah, really, they don't face a good quarterback until Josh Allen in week, I don't know, but that's in December, so I'm sure it's a double-digit week.
Yeah,
It's dang, that's so lucky of them, because like that secondary would get torched if you were, let's say if you were in the NFC West, like that secondary would get absolutely torched by Wilson and Murray and Stafford, and like, so it's going to be interesting to see how that develops, to see if they go and pick up more pieces potentially. I mean, I know they got Sherman, but I don't think Sherman looked that good last night, in my opinion. I think he
no,
looked
he
a little
didn't.
rough, but I mean, I guess it is, you just got signed and it's your first week and they're making you go play. So, like, you can't expect him to look absolutely amazing. Um, I don't know. Just really interesting to see what's going to happen there and Tampa Bay when it comes to that secondary. If that secondary stays the
Yep.
same way, if it continues to struggle, are they going to be able to make the Super Bowl in the postseason?
So I mean, we talked about their schedule a little bit, and they have like the fourth best schedule in the league, but honestly, this is probably the best schedule in the league
No.
in terms of who their opponents were. Uh, this is going to be really interesting if they go up against a team like the Packers that throws a lot, or a team like, I don't know, maybe I want to say Carolina. Maybe they have Christian McCaffrey back by the end of the season because they have the Panthers twice in their last three games. So that'll be very, very interesting to see how that plays out. But I don't know if any team can really go toe to toe with them in the in the NFC besides the Rams, who obviously they have their one loss to, and they took advantage of that secondary. So outside of that, Josh, I don't think there's any passing attack that can actually take advantage of this.
Yeah, I would tend to agree that it kind of sucks that no passing attack is going to be able to take advantage of this. All right, let's keep talking about rookies. Fields ended up leading the Bears to a win yesterday. In that win, he had 209 yards. He didn't have any passing touchdowns, but a win's a win, right? Like at the end of the day, we can't be too picky with these rookies. It seems like if you're able to lead your team to a win, then I consider it a good start by you. Do you consider it a good start?
Yeah, I think you can say that it was a good start. Still want to see a little bit more, but yeah, I think that it's interesting, right? Like,
No.
well, the rookies played the best that they've played uh, so far this week, even though not all of them played great.
Yeah, not all of them played great for sure. I think the end all be all in that game is the fact that you just got to take running backs against the Lions. Like there's no other option anymore than to
Yeah.
take running
Yep.
backs against the Lions. We saw David Montgomery go for 23, 106, and two touchdowns, and then when he went out for an injury, we saw Damian Williams go 8 carries for 55 yards
Yeah.
and a touchdown. So combined, they had about 150 yards over 30 carries with three touchdowns. I mean,
Yep.
that's insane. That's those are ridiculous numbers. I think, and this is a poor run game too, right? Like this is an O line that I think is, I wouldn't say they're bad, but they're in the bottom half of the league, especially when it
Yep.
comes to their run blocking. So like it just, yeah, let's see who comes up next for the Lions. I think it's always fun to look ahead. This week they have the Vikings, so they have to face off against Dalvin Cook. That's going to be interesting to talk
Yikes.
about. Then they have the Bengals, and hopefully Joe Mixon is back. Then they have the Rams and Daryl Henderson. Then they have the Eagles and Miles Sanders, and then Najee Harris. They have to face a lot of tough running backs over the next
Yeah,
few
and then the
weeks. So
Browns.
yeah, and then the Browns with Chubb. So like you're
Yikes.
talking about a lot of tough matchups there that I think they could definitely run into a little bit of problem with that defense being so bad. Bacon23 says no way they go back to Dalton, right? I don't know. At this point, do you think there's any chance they go back to Dalton?
No, not a chance. I mean, it's kind of funny, right? How Matt Nagy's words have kind of backfired on him,
Yeah.
and this injury obviously was not something that they planned. But Fields was poised. He looked really confident against that Lions team. It was a whole new person almost. So, watching tape back from that game and watching some of it live, I noticed that he just had more of like a like a pep in his step and like a bounced like he just knew what he was going to do, and obviously Montgomery definitely helped instill that confidence for the entirety of the game. Josh, this Lions team could go winless.
Yeah,
Looking at their schedule right now.
they really could, man. Like the schedule is tough. Up like I don't know why the NFL gave them like the toughest schedule in all of football because it's gonna be tough sledding for that team.
Yeah, the only real shot that they have, maybe like it's always these NFC North matchups are always really, really tough to get right. But I think that there are like maybe they split something with the Vikings, or maybe they take one from the Bears or even the Packers. Like they always play those teams very, very tough. It's always a different scenario in that division. But outside of that, I think there's no team on here that could, maybe the Falcons late in the season. But yeah, I don't think there's any team that they're going to win or beat like straight up right now.
Yeah. It doesn't look great for that Lions team. All right, last rookie that we have to talk about. I think the last rookie that we have to talk about. I might be wrong there. But we do have to talk about Trey Lance, who came in for the 49ers after Jimmy G ended up getting hurt. Jimmy G said that it is going to be a groin injury that is going to be week to week. Said hopefully he only has to sit out a couple weeks. That's not the most encouraging thing I've ever heard in my life, but it is what it is. Lance didn't look bad, man. Like, he got put under pressure against the Seahawks team and in my opinion, looked good. I know the completion rating was only 50%, but he had 2 touchdowns. He had 157 yards. He had 41 rushing yards as well. So, like, he got his run game in. What are your thoughts? Lance, good, bad, meh? What are you thinking about that performance yesterday?
Yeah, I think it was good to see putting him in a tough situation with I'm sure that they are prepping him for this eventually, but I'm sure they didn't expect to do it yesterday. Uh, he found Debo. I mean, that's
Yeah.
his guy apparently. So that's very, very good to see. Debo Samuel's turning into a beast. And I know he was
Yeah.
last year, but now it's they're actually using him specifically in the pass game. Only got 1 carry because he used to be more of just a gadget type of Swiss Army knife kind of play.
Hmm.
Now he's this guy that's actually emerging as a wide receiver one. And yeah, I mean he looked great. So if he has that and the ability for Lance to run on the ground, um, 2 things with that. One, it's very good for this team in general. But 2, that makes the running backs for the Niners that much more
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
Scary. It was very scary. Sermon had almost 20 touches, which was good. But at the end of the day, I'm sure that you could see that they just turned into a different kind of running team now that they had a mobile quarterback behind center.
I think this is what Shanahan has always needed in his career is have, and
Yeah,
he's never really had a really good mobile running back or quarterback. And
correct.
this is like the first time that we've seen this, and I
Yep,
think it's going to unlock like a whole new level of this offense, which
it
I'm so
should.
excited for. I think this Cardinals game is going to be so important, and Cardinals are going to be favorites. I think they're 5-point favorites right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see that go up to 7 points by the end of the week. But I think that this Niners team is going to. I think you're going to see this offense kind of unlock. I think Trey Lance is that key, and it's going to unlock into what it's supposed to be. Because Shanahan, I mean, we know how of an offensive mastermind he is, and now that he has a whole new way to run the game, whole new way to run the offense, I think it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, and for Lance, statistically, we're going to see him. I think in the this year specifically, we're going to see him in the 20 to 22 pass attempt range and try to really get that 8 to 10 rush attempts.
Yeah,
That's going to be key for them. They ran the ball a ton yesterday, 30 plus attempts on the ground. That's the way that this team's going to try to win football games. And this is now starting to take effect. And we haven't seen it we talked about this all offseason for those of you who have been in those conversations in Discord and just on all the shows. Now we're starting to finally see them, Josh, do that 500 rush attempt type approach. We didn't really see that through the first 3 weeks.
yeah, we actually saw it last week, and so that makes me think like maybe they did have a plan to bring Trey Lance in at some point, and when they brought Trey Lance in, that's when they knew like, all right, we're gonna get closer to that 500 rushing yard attempt type of a year for us. And
Yep.
I mean, if you have Lance there, I feel like you can get pretty close to that 500 rush attempts for the year. All right, let's talk about some AFC powerhouses in the Chiefs and the Bills. Bills, let's talk about them first. Over the past 3 weeks, Jared, they have outscored opponents 118 points to 21. And 2 of
Yep.
those weeks, they shut out the opposing team, including this week against the Texans, where they made Davis Mills look like I don't know, a high school QB at best, maybe. That said, I
Yeah.
wish I could find it off on my desk or wherever it is, but I have a Davis Mills triple patch auto in Jersey, and I was so excited for it, and I was like, oh, maybe Davis Mills can do something this year, but no, not the case, not the case whatsoever. So what are your thoughts on this Bills team? They were able to put up 40 points yesterday, and now they get the Chiefs. I feel like you can put up more points against the Chiefs. Like I think they're in line for even more points this weekend.
Yeah, what happened in the game was basically the equivalent of somebody putting Davis Mills on a table and just getting Bills Mafia'd. That's basically what happened yesterday,
Yeah,
like 18 times over. So
yeah.
they didn't stand a chance. We already knew that. But Buffalo's offense is just fantastic. And as much like, dude, they could have put up. I'm still frustrated about this, and we're probably going to spend too much time talking about it, but they could have put up 60 plus points yesterday,
Mhm.
and they went 0 for 5 in the red zone, uh, which is actually crazy. Like they blew it all the way down the field, and then every single time that they would run just stupid uh, plays at the goal line, which a lot of carries to Zach Moss, which didn't make sense. So I guess we can talk about that. And Josh Allen just there was one where he dove for the pylon, which I think was supposed to get in, but then the whole tilting thing with that, if you weren't watching that game for any of you guys, is that the announcing crew, the weather was so bad that they didn't have like things were going out. Like the CBS commentators weren't the people actually commentating the game. It was actually people that were in the studio at CBS Studios commenting the game to make sure that like the game kept going. So the real announcers weren't doing the commentating for like half of the game because the weather was so bad, and then they had tech issues. So when it came time to review certain plays, they couldn't because they had no camera angles to review it. So that it's pretty crazy. We never see that in the NFL. Just another reason to get tilted about yesterday. But they could have put up 60 plus points on the Texans if they wanted to.
Yeah, Moss and Singletary had both 14 rushing attempts. So 28 rushing attempts as a whole, had one touchdown between the both of them, ended up having somewhere around 140 yards as well. So like I mean like that's more of a testament towards this Texans team is awful. And now they get to face off against Mac Jones in this upcoming week and the
Yeah,
Patriots. I mean, Mac Jones could throw like 302 against this team. Like,
Dreamer. Yep.
I think anyone really can throw three. I think if David Mills was going up against this Texans defense, you could show them, or you could see him putting up 302. Like, I just Texans are really bad. They're lucky they got their week one win because if they didn't, they'd be another team that I think could legitimately
Yeah.
be winless throughout this season.
Yep. I think that their other win that I think the only other win we've talked about this a few times. Their only other win is going to be against the Jaguars later in the year, and even that might be a little bit closer.
Yeah.
They're just they have a lot to figure out right now, and I think that while Davis Mills has the potential to be a really good quarterback in the league, it's going to be a while before we start to see any of that play out.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's talk about this next game, Chiefs and Eagles. Eagles ended up getting 30 points, but KC just kind of outpowered them when it came to their
Yep.
offense. Had 42 points. Mahomes had 5 touchdowns. You and I both had a bet that Mahomes was going to have 3 touchdowns this week,
Yep.
and he completed that bet in the first half, which was insane to see, mostly because Tyreek Hill was an absolute animal yesterday with 11 receptions, 180 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I don't know. Like, I think this is great. Good news. Like, thank goodness the Chiefs are winning again because the NFL doesn't feel right without the Chiefs ending up winning a game. But, like, I was not impressed. I was not impressed by the defense. I think the offense did what they needed to do. What are your thoughts on this Chiefs team?
Yeah, bet the over on every single Chiefs game this season
Yeah.
because they're going to put up 35 plus points and just hoping that their defense doesn't give up the same amount. So whoever they play, even if it's the Texans, I would hit the over because I think that the Texans could score 14. They'll probably put up 50 on them. So
No.
that's just the way that they're playing this year, and their defense is not anywhere near what it was the past 2 seasons. A lot of that has to do with injuries. But yeah, the offense has that spark again. I mean, we saw that a little bit, and I think that the the narrative of this is just the cherry on top, but the narrative of Andy Reid coming home after uh, losing twice in pretty rough fashion was definitely a reason where they just didn't take their foot off the gas, and we saw Tyreek Hill do his thing again, where he like a couple times a season he'll go ballistic, go over 200 yards and get
Yeah.
3 touchdowns, and that was one of those games last night, which I think Darius Slay is pretty upset this morning.
I think so too. I think Darius Slay is probably pretty upset this morning. On the other side, Hurts had a good day. Like Hurts 387 yards for 2 touchdowns, had 8 carries for 47 yards. Here's the thing that I want to talk about. Again, we had a bad Sanders week, like back-to-back weeks.
Yeah.
This time, at least he got 7 carries, but that 7 carries resulted in 13 yards. Gainwell had 3 carries for 31 yards in the touchdown, and he also had 6 receptions for 58 yards. So Gainwell just looking better and better in that offense. How far away do you think we are from saying that Gainwell is going to take over this job?
I due to body size, I don't think we can necessarily lock him into that running back one spot. But if the Eagles are going to be playing from behind, then I think that it's totally, I don't know, it's totally flipped from Sanders to Gainwell. Also, I mean, that he's fresher, he's less injury prone. Uh, the one thing that was weird and that totally uh, will be the opposite of what I was trying to say is that they gave him goal line touches, which
Mm-hmm.
uh, that is very encouraging for to people to like. I don't know. They weren't in the entire preseason. They weren't using him that way, and even up to this point, there wasn't many options or opportunities for them to use him like that. He was in there. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm a Miles Sanders truther and always have been, but it's getting to that point where Gainwell just looks better.
Yeah, Gainwell does look a lot better. I don't know, man. I keep saying it. I've said it like 4 or 5 times
Yeah.
this season, but Memphis backs like they always
Yep.
find their way into advantageous spots in the offense, and that's what we're
Yep.
seeing from Gainwell. Just looking really good. The team's looking solid. I think putting 30 points up against the Chiefs is kind of all you can ask for. And if your defense doesn't get the job done, then your defense doesn't get the job done. It is what it is for that offense. All right, any games that you want to talk about? I mean, I know we had plenty of games on the slate, but we've covered quite a few already. What game impressed you the most outside of the ones we've already talked about?
Yeah, the game that I had some interest in and a little bit of juice on the side was that Washington Atlanta game. And every single time that Atlanta scored, I bet on Washington because you just
Yeah,
knew, right? You knew that the
yeah.
Falcons were going to blow the lead late. I didn't think he was going to be on a kick return. Didn't think he was going to be because of a weird Matt Ryan, like that throwaway interception that was actually ruled down. At that scary Terry second touchdown that didn't make sense. That was weird.
What what
And
okay,
then
so hold on. What was that touchdown? Because I watched that touchdown and I was kind of half watching. I was doing some other stuff while I was watching football yesterday. But like he caught it and like no one was like were defenders behind him. Like what happened there?
yeah, so I mean, it was just a weird pass in general, and I'm sure QDZ can talk about that. It was a weird pass in the first place, and like I guess the defenders just weren't expecting it, which no excuse there. That's terrible football.
Yeah.
But even Terry was like he kind of just it was going to be a jump ball, but it looked like everybody just misplayed it for whatever reason, and he kind of just pushed his defender to the side a little bit and made the catch, and nobody
Insane.
celebrated, which was
No
weird.
one said that's the thing that threw me off. That like no one said like it was just everyone was just like, all right, it happened. And then
Yeah.
like Heineke, I loved Heineke's reaction because he got knocked down on that
Yep.
play and he pulled the Devin Booker look up where like he was just on his back looking up at the play. And he went like, yes. And I was like, that's
It
hilarious.
was
That's
weird.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was certainly weird. Just a weird game in general, right? Like I agree. It just felt like the Falcons were going to blow it. Heineke looked really good. That's the number one takeaway I had from that game. Threw for 290 yards, had 3 touchdowns. I think Gibson even looked good at some spots, but I guess the main spot that looked good for them is Terry McLaurin. Looked like that wide receiver one that we were expecting him to look like.
Yeah, I have no words for the Falcons. They're a team that just blows everything, right? I have no words for that. I knew that they were going to find a way to blow the game, and they always have drama. Whether it be like some weird play is like they give up a kick return, they give up an onside kick or something. So they always find a way to lose. And Matt Ryan, I feel like this is his last season in the NFL. Maybe he'll come back next year and say this is it for me, but they got to start moving on, I think. And they don't really have any plans to move on. I don't think any of their backups can really get the job done. And they are relying on his favorite weapon, Cordero Patterson, who is not going to get 3 touchdowns every single
Don't
game. Also,
don't.
the most tilting part about yesterday was that Mike Davis was like 35 to 40% owned on FanDuel and had one FanDuel point through 3 quarters and got a touchdown from a receiving, like he broke 5 tackles and got
Yeah,
in, which
that's
was
what
the most tilting thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's what I was gonna say, man. That's what because I was watching that play and it was on red zone and I was watching it and I saw him break one and I was like, all right, one of y'all gotta tackle him here. Like you gotta get hit because I knew how owned he was, especially on 1 p.m. only. We were cooking with
Yeah.
gas on 1 p.m. only too. We were in takedown spots coming towards the end of those games, and I was like, y'all gotta tackle him here, please. And then boom, sheds one, boom, sheds another, boom, sheds another, and then gets into the red end zone. And I was like, come on, Washington. Like, it's ridiculous that we said this team was going to be a top 5 defense. And it's not our fault. Like, this team should be a top 5 defense, but they certainly aren't, right? Like, this defense, even though they did get the win here, this defense is rough.
Yep. Very rough. Again, I thought that like they were pressuring the quarterback, which be expected. Washington's personnel, I keep saying this, and eventually they're going to turn the corner. But they're too good personnel wise to play down to the performance that they've been playing down to. And the Mike Davis thing was, I'd probably like have broken my hand like 5 times, but punching walls here. But that was definitely a punch wall moment yesterday for me.
Yeah. I can imagine it would have been a punch wall moment for me.
Yeah.
I hate to keep talking. All these touchdowns were super impressive from this Washington game. I'm guessing you saw the McKissick touchdown too, like that he jumped from like the 4 yard line to get in there. Like that was not only hops, but that was an insane touchdown as well.
Yeah, he looked really good again. Like
Yeah.
he has these stints where he's just non-existent, and then he comes through and he's just like he's done it a few times this season, dating back to the Giants game too. So yeah, really, really like every single Atlanta game, like it's something that you just it never appears on red zone. It did a lot yesterday, but it's always the one that never gets any attention, and then somehow it's the latest game. It's the longest game on the 1 p.m. slate. Every single Atlanta game is always the longest game because so much crap happens at the end of the game when somehow Atlanta decides to blow it.
Yep, for sure. Completely agree. Anything else in this game? If not, let's talk a little bit about the Cowboys.
Yeah, no, let's talk about the Cowboys.
Yeah, Cowboys ended up winning 36-28 against that Panthers team. 36 points, that's a lot for a Panthers defense that we were ranking, or we weren't ranking. They were number 1 in so many different categories. This was their first true test. Seems like they probably failed their first true test. What are your thoughts? Is this defense what we thought it was and they just had a bad week? Or is this defense just not very good and we've seen them face off against really bad opponents?
No, I think this is just the fact that the Cowboys offense is really, really good. And
No.
that's exactly what we saw last year when Dak was with Mike McCarthy for those first few weeks of the year. The Dallas offense is who we thought they were. The Carolina defense, I still think, are above average, but they're not elite yet. And we saw both of those defenses, the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers, get exposed when they were up against tough matchups. So Carolina's defense is taking that step forward. They have some really, really good young pieces. Jeremy Chin was a stud yesterday, and that's never going to get talked about just because of the defensive play on the other side by those young studs as well. But they have some really, really, really good pieces on defense. The Cowboys' offense is just much better.
Yeah. Certainly much better. I mean, that Cowboys offense looks so good. And the crazy thing was, like, they didn't have to have Dak throw for 400 yards to look good, right? Like, he ended up
Yep.
throwing for 180, 100 and somewhere between 160 and 180. But, like, what really kind of solidified that offense was Zeke running the ball. Ended up having 140 yards. You know, I was extremely bullish on the Zeke take yesterday, so that
Yep.
felt good from my end. Tony Pollard even looked good. He had 10 rushes for, I think, like 60 plus yards. So, like, that run offense, I feel like we're seeing sprinkles of what it was in 2015 almost, when like this O line was absolutely dominantly elite, and you saw basically they could throw any running back there, and they would end up having a lot of success. And I think you're seeing that. I mean, not to say that Zeke is any running back. Zeke has shown that he is one of those top running backs in the league. But you're seeing that run offense look really, really good week in and week out, which is good. I think you should try to save. I think you should try to save Dak for the playoffs. You should try your best to make sure Dak does not get injured, because if Dak gets injured again, this offense absolutely plummets. But as long as Dak is there, then you're able to run the ball. I think you continue doing it, and the Cowboys look really good, man. The Cowboys look like a really good team right now.
They do, and that's kind of what I thought coming into the season. Again, their offense has a lot of really, really good pieces in it. Mike McCarthy loves to run the football. And outside of week one, we knew that they were going to struggle running the football. We knew it. Like it wasn't anything that shocked me, which is why we continued to tell everybody, hey, don't drop Zeke yet. Don't talk bad about Zeke. He's going to have a rough week one, but after that, he looked great, and he's looked
Yep.
great ever since. And the Dallas team, the biggest thing that I'm seeing here is that they don't have to throw the ball 40, 50 times like they were doing last season. So they have a few injuries that they need to keep an eye on for the receiving core. Obviously, Gallup's injured. Amari Cooper was dealing with stuff. He was in and out of the game yesterday, but they don't have to pass as much as they used to. And I think it's a little bit of an anomaly that he got 4 passing touchdowns yesterday. I'm thankful for it because I played him on DraftKings
Yeah.
and he was my favorite start there. But they are going to run the football 25 to 30 times, and they have 2 guys that can do it. And you can arguably say that they are the 2 best the best running back tandem in the league.
Trying to think through running back tandems in the league. Think you're pretty much. Think you're
And
pretty
Packers
on to that though.
close. Yeah, Packers is close, but I
Yeah.
think that the Cowboys are better than them.
Yeah, I'm still thinking. I can't think of another running back tandem that would be better than them. So I'm I don't know, maybe Gibson and McKissick. I think McKissick is. I think that's a really good tandem. I think that's a tandem that works really well together. And yeah, I don't think I could think of anyone else though. So you're
I
right
mean,
there.
maybe
That's
the Vikings, maybe the Browns.
maybe,
So
but
good question.
uh,
Browns or Cowboys running backs?
uh I have to lean with Browns, I think. I think that's probably the
Yeah, I
better
think you're
running
right.
back tandem than the Cowboys. I think you found it right there. Yeah, everyone else is calling us idiots because we didn't think of or you thought of the Browns, but I didn't. Jake Hughes Browns with Hunt and Chubb is closest. Yeah, but I think they're better. I think so. You can probably see this running back tandem is number 2, but they look really good, man. I think the Cowboys look really, really good. All right, let's talk about some more games. Let's talk. I don't want to. I want to talk about the Giants game. So we're skipping over that one. We'll talk about it for Jason Garrett Tuesday. I have some thoughts. Y'all need to tune in for Jason Garrett Tuesday because it's going to be a fun one. But
Yeah.
let's talk about the Browns and the Vikings. Speaking of Chubb and Hunt, I told you yesterday. I was like, this is the game I'm most excited for in GPPs because it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to see a lot of points, and we didn't see any of that, Jared. Not a single thing. It tanked like half of my lineups yesterday. The fact that we didn't see shit from this Browns and Vikings game. What are your thoughts on it? Well, the Browns defense looked really good. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, they put a lot of pressure, and one of the biggest mismatches on the day was that Browns defensive line against the Minnesota offensive line, which I thought was going to force Kirk Cousins to throw more. It didn't. So, I mean, he threw the ball 38 times, but like I would hope that they would actually do something against that secondary, which is pretty below average. So,
Mhm.
I don't know, giving Dalvin Cook 9 rushing attempts, even Madison out touched him, which was, ugh, that's gross. But um, this game underwhelmed to an extreme level, and it makes you think that you shouldn't be targeting Minnesota games. But I think that this was just that Cleveland Browns defensive line is that good.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. That Cleveland Browns defensive line is that good, and whenever you see them going up against this bad of an offensive line, you should be considering their DST in all honesty. So, I don't know. I laughed when you said Dalvin Cook got out touched by Madison because I go back to that thing that you said he said yesterday where it was game day and he said I'm gonna be my usual self on the field today, and then you said, well, hopefully Mike Zimmer doesn't think he is because you're right. Mike Zimmer clearly didn't think he was his normal self because only 9 rushes, looked pretty pedestrian throughout those 9 rushes. Had a long 13-yard rush, but that's basically all we saw from him. Yeah, I don't know. The Cleveland Browns defense is as good as we expected them to be. That was my
Yeah.
main takeaway from this game.
Yep. my main takeaway in the last rant that I'll have for Sunday was the pass, and I don't know if you saw it or caught it. It was only on red zone for a split second. It was the end of the game, and basically like the ice play where Cleveland decided to pass on 3rd and 10, which didn't make any sense. But he missed OBJ, and they disconnected for a split second. OBJ went to the inside, and Baker threw to the outside, and we had OBJ on FanDuel, and that would have been a 70-yard touchdown. So just one of those things that did not sit well with me. I knew that he was a good play, but that game did not live up to the hype, and we got screwed by the fantasy gods on that one.
We certainly did get screwed by the fantasy gods on that one. All right, is there anything else NFL wise that you want to talk about? A lot of this stuff can get pushed to tomorrow, but I just realized we're 45 minutes into the stream, and we still have to talk about baseball. We still have to talk about college football. We still have so much to talk about, and we're not even close. So, anything else in this game or in NFL that you want to talk about? And if not, we'll just push it to tomorrow.
No, we have a lot of. I'm excited to talk about the Giants tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely excited to talk about the Giants and Jason Garrett Tuesday. All right, postseason push. We're finally to the postseason. Felt like a really long MLB regular season, but we're finally here. Everyone was on the edge of their seat thinking, what is going to happen in the AL wildcard? Because it is an absolute mess over here. There was scenarios where we had four-way ties, I think there was a 1 out of 15 chance that we had a four-way tie between the Mariners, the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and the Red Sox. But luckily, Yankees and Red Sox did what they needed to do. Both teams ended up winning. Both teams ended up making it into the wild card game. And now we get a game in Fenway where we have the Yankees facing off against the Red Sox. Garrett Cole's on the mound for the Yankees. Nathan Eovaldi on the mound for the Red Sox is what it's looking like as of right now. Well, what are your thoughts here? Like, is this? I know this wasn't what we expected to happen because you really wanted the Mariners in there, but is this something we're okay with a Fenway game, right? For the wild card.
Yeah, so they're the home team, or the Red Sox are the home team.
Yes, Red Sox are the home team.
Really weird. It must be a head-to-head type
I
of
don't
approach there.
understand it. I don't try to pretend to understand MLB playoff rulings or how one team gets ahead of another. It might be divisional wins too. I
Has
know
to be,
that's
or
I know
straight
that's
up.
some. Yeah, I have no clue. But anyway, Red Sox are the leading people in that, or the Red Sox are going to be the home team. Going to be interesting.
Crazy. Yeah, so first of all, shout out to the Mariners. He almost made it. And yeah, Kyle Seager, I think is he done? Is he retiring? Because they gave him a standing ovation yesterday. So
I don't know.
that's all I saw. I didn't pay attention to a single thing for baseball yesterday. Just saw that this morning actually. So if the chat can answer that, I'd appreciate it. And then Blue Jays, shout out to the Blue Jays and put in commemorating your season by wearing your hat today. And yeah, 4 teams in the AL East went over 90 wins. And you could add that 5 had a number 90. Orioles lost 110 games. So all
Uh,
the anyway, yeah, that's really bad. But 4 teams over 90, and the Blue Jays any other season probably would have been at least in the wild card at the very least. So I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can blame that on the fact that they played it in Tampa for half the season. So I guess who
yeah.
knows? But the Yankees and the Red Sox are here. They have the same record. I would say they're pretty evenly matched. I think the Yankees have better pitching. But other than that, I would say that we're going to see some fireworks on Tuesday night.
It's gonna be a game where I'm gonna be on the. I'm probably just gonna turn off the Discord and just focus on the game, and
Yeah.
that's the only thing I'm gonna
Yep.
focus on because that's it's gonna be a really fun game to watch. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. The fact that both of these teams are extremely close when it comes to their offense, when it comes to the pitching staff, when it comes to everything. And we do know that JD Martinez is hurt. So like if
Yeah.
Martinez is hurt for this game and is going to be out, does that change how you view this team at all?
A little bit. I guess I would just want to know, like,
Mhm.
yeah, John, the Red Sox are not pitching Sale; they're pitching Eovaldi,
They
which I
can't
think
pitch
is,
Sale because Sale went on Sunday.
yeah, I think that was a smart move by them. I don't think Sale's ready for the Yankees, and I think it's a bad matchup for him.
Yeah, we would shell Sale. I think we would put up a lot of runs against Sale. Um, anyway, I don't know. I lean Yankees because Cole looked really good against them last time. We looked really good against Nathan Eovaldi. This same exact matchup in Fenway happened like 2 weeks ago, but it's going to be a close one. And to the fact that you said that we had 490-win teams in the AL East, it like I think each and every team was probably 100-win team if they're in their own if they're in the
Yeah,
White Sox spot where they're in the
sure.
Central and they're the only team that's good in that division. Each and every one of these teams is probably a 100-win team. They just had really tough opponents throughout.
100% agree with that. The fact that they had as many wins as they did was impressive, to say the
Yeah.
least. And yeah, I mean, best division in baseball, hands down.
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't think there's. I mean, maybe you can make a case for the NL West, but
Yeah,
like,
not anymore.
not anymore. Not anymore. I think at the beginning of the season you can make that conversation, but like you said, not anymore. Wednesday we have the NL wildcard game where we have the Cardinals and the Dodgers. Dodgers are going to end up pitching Max Scherzer. Cardinals are going to pitch Adam Wainwright. What are your thoughts here? This was the least wanted matchup of for us for this Cardinals team, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals are still hot, but they're catching. And this again, I don't know why they went Scherzer here. I mean, maybe they feel confident in their bullpen. BetOnline has them as minus 200 favorites, which they probably should be. But I might have some interest in taking some plus money here because I do think that Scherzer has the ability to give up the long ball, and like obviously it's not a good matchup for Wainwright, but he is a seasoned vet when it comes to these type of situations. A lot of playoff experience, and as a Cardinal, like I'm not a Cardinals backer, but you should feel pretty confident that this is your best shot, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
have again a really weird decision by Roberts. Is it because did Bueller go yesterday? Was that why?
No, I don't think. No, Bueller did go yesterday. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
Bueller did go.
that has to be the reason. Like Scherzer, I don't trust it. I really don't.
Yeah, I really thought Kershaw was going to be that guy. I know he got injured. Probably not going to pitch through the postseason. That might be a little bit of a blessing for this Dodgers team that Kershaw doesn't have to make a
Yeah,
postseason start.
yeah.
But I don't know. Scherzer's. I think most likely the Dodgers win. I lean with the Dodgers, but we'll just have
Oh
to see
yeah,
what
you have
Scherzer.
to a little bit,
Yeah, of
right?
course. But we'll just have to see what Scherzer can do here. I think Scherzer is his start will basically determine if they're going to win. They also got the news that they're not going to have Max Muncy for the wild card game, which I think like
Wow.
it sucks to see that these teams are losing guys. Like for Red Sox with JD Martinez, Yankees with DJ LeMahieu, and now the Dodgers with Max Muncy. I hope we don't see more injuries when it comes to baseball because that'd be really sad.
Yeah, for sure. I think I saw this stat yesterday, and I'm pretty sure that the maybe I'm wrong. So I don't want to. Sorry if I butcher this, guys, but I'm pretty sure that they tied their franchise win record at 106 and got second place in their division, which is crazy, right? So
Yeah.
best you could argue best season they've ever had, comparing to the 2019 season. This is the second time that they put up 106 wins in a regular season. But the fact is, like the craziest fact of all, is that the Giants have more wins than them, which
Yeah.
is pretty crazy.
It's insane, dude. Like that Giants team and Webb was out there yesterday. Webb did everything in his power to make sure his team was going to win. Not only did he pitch a gem with 7 innings, I don't know if you saw this, he also had a home run too. So like he did everything he could to put his team on top. And
Yep.
Logan Webb was a big contributor to the Giants winning yesterday. So I don't know, this Dodgers season, it has to be like the best second place season that we've ever seen in MLB
Has to
history.
be.
Like, have we ever seen a second place team win 105 plus games?
I would say no, but I obviously there's somebody
There's
that
so
knows that
many.
information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's someone that's not us that probably knows that information. All right, anything else you want to talk about the postseason? We're going to be talking about it plenty this week
Yep.
when we get more new, when we find out what happens with these wild card games. But these wild card games are going to be must watch television. I think you need to tune in for every one of these games if you have the ability to.
Yeah. My hot take is that one of these teams wins the World Series.
Hopefully it's my Yankees. I'd like that a lot. All right, let's move on to our next segment, Upset City, which has to do with college football. Something was in the water this week, Jared. Something was happening with college football because it was my worst week of college football by a long shot. I think in company history, it was my worst week in college football. And I'll own up to it. It's perfectly fine. You're gonna have good weeks. You're gonna have bad weeks. And like I told someone in the chat, we've had a lot more wins than we've had losses this season. But man, the AP top 25 losses this week. We saw Oregon at number 3 lose. We saw Arkansas at number 8 lose. We saw Notre Dame at number 9 lose. We saw Florida at number 10 lose. We saw Ole Miss at number 12 lose. We saw at Texas A&M at 15 lose. We saw Fresno lose at 18. We saw UCLA lose at 20, and we saw Baylor lose at 21. For those who are keeping track at home, that's 9 top 25 teams that ended up losing this week. So I want to hear which one surprised you the most out of this group.
Probably the Oregon one. I think that's
Yeah.
probably the biggest one.
No.
I was waiting for the eventual Arkansas loss. I didn't think it was going to come this week, but yeah, Oregon definitely for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if this game, it didn't surprise me that they lost. Let me clarify that first. It surprised me that they didn't put up more of a fight because I really thought that Ole Miss game was going to be tooth and nail. Thought those
Yeah,
teams them and Alabama were going to be right next to each other the whole game, and it just wasn't. It wasn't a good game. Like, I mean, it was an okay game, but like Bama just clearly had an advantage in every capacity of the game. So like it was super disappointing to see that Ole Miss wasn't able to contend like I thought they would during that whole entire game. I was surprised by the Oregon loss, but Oregon always has this stinker of a loss every year, and it's kind of the same thing as like with Arkansas with Texas. Like I think of that Texas team all the time when it comes to
yeah,
that loss.
yeah,
It's just we saw we saw a crazy amount of uh, AP top 25 teams lose, and it is what it is. But this college football season has felt pretty crazy so far. Through the first 5 weeks, we have had, gosh, this is gonna take some quick math, but here we go. 8 plus 5 equals 13. 13 plus 6 equals 19. Plus 6 again equals 25. Plus 9. So we've had 34 top AP top 25 teams lose throughout the first 5 weeks of football. 34. That's 7 teams a week almost. That's ridiculous.
yeah. It's absolutely wild, right? So I just really want to see the eventual Alabama versus Georgia game, which we're not going to see in the regular season, but I
Yeah.
think that's probably a national. It's going to start circling, if not already. It might already be something that people have started to put out there. But yeah, that's what I expect for this season. Um, there's always one really, really weird week, and usually it's not this lopsided
Mm-hmm.
for teams getting upset. But yeah, I don't know. And to put even more salt in the wound, Michigan just absolutely demolished Wisconsin.
Crushed your Badgers.
Clutch
Absolutely.
them.
See, I bet against the Badgers last week. I saw that game on the board. I was like, this Michigan line looks kind of juicy in all honesty, but I'll
Yeah,
stay away. I think the under is a better play. Your quarterback sucks this year, Jared. That's all I have to
it
say.
does.
Michigan has been really slow paced this season. I was like, this game's gonna hit the under. No, you guys you got your defense isn't good either. I guess like nothing works for you guys. So I really wish I ended up taking that Michigan line, but it is what it is. We're here, and we'll bounce back next week. I have no doubt about it. It's important when you have weeks like this where I'm not kidding. I'll be 100% transparent with you guys. I lost on DraftKings. I lost on FanDuel. Actually, we won the FanDuel GPP lineup, so that's the one saving grace. But I had 5 bets, ended up going 1-4. Only bet that one was my least confident bet. So like it was just a really bad week for me. in college football. But it's important to put those weeks behind you, to air it out, be transparent about it, then put it behind you and bounce back next week. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to bounce back this weekend. I have a good feeling about it. So, anything else you want to talk about with college football? And if not, we're gonna move on to the next segment.
Yeah, no, let's move on.
Let's move on and talk about some early NBA action. We don't have to stay here for long, but we did have the first preseason game yesterday where the Nets stomped on my Lakers. Uh, gosh, it's not a Josh. I mean, outside of the Yankees making the postseason, it is not a Josh weekend. This weekend was not a good weekend for Josh. But we saw the Nets look good. I mean, Lakers didn't have a lot of their key pieces. So, what do you take away from that first preseason game, if anything?
Nothing. I
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I was like, I saw something. I think it was on Bleacher Report, and it was like 4 takeaways from the first preseason game. And I was like, there should be no
Me agree.
takeaways from that game.
Yeah.
There should be 0 takeaways. The takeaway should be that this is preseason basketball, and it does not matter.
Yeah. So the thing that stands out to me, I guess, which is a bright spot, is that LaMarcus Aldridge is going to play basketball again.
Yeah,
So that's the one takeaway that I have. And the Nets, and we'll talk about this moving forward. I know we don't have any time to do it today, but they have established their front court, and it's going to
yeah,
be a lot better this year.
yeah. It's going to be a ton better. I mean, it's not that hard to be better than last year's front court, but it is going to be a lot better. All right, let's talk about the next segment since I know we're getting a little bit pressed for time here. Flag on the play. What surprised you about yesterday's slate, whether it be NFL or MLB? Well, you're probably not talking about MLB. What surprised you on the NFL slate?
Yeah, the NFL slate was strange for many reasons. That Browns game was a total stinker when I thought that that was going to be something that went back and forth. The Rams looked pedestrian, which is probably the biggest surprise of the week. And yeah, that's I mean, I don't know. I mean, outside of that, I think the one thing that I don't know, the tilting thing outside of Mike Davis was just the fact that the Bills had so many chances to score and they just couldn't do it, and it got to the point where they just took the starters out and scored 40 points, and Josh Allen only ended up with 1 touchdown. So that is probably the most crazy thing that happened this weekend.
Yeah, I still can't believe that Vikings game. I'm gonna take a little bit of time though to talk about a little bit of comedy here. My flag on the play goes to Urban Meyer and that ridiculous video that came out. I don't know if you did you see the Urban Meyer video?
No, no. What happened?
Oh, geez, there was this young woman who was dancing on him, who was clearly not his wife, and
Uh,
he had to come out and he apologized to the Jaguars yesterday. He apologized to the team president. He apologized to everyone, and then apologized to his family too. My flag on the play goes to Urban Meyer and saying, "How much longer are you gonna last in the NFL, man? Like, someone's clearly showing you the door right now, and you need to get out while the getting's good."
oh no, I'm watching it right now. That's all I
Yeah.
have to see. Oh,
Yeah. It was bad news bears, man.
oh no.
I I could not help but laugh. I was like, "Oh, like why, Urban Meyer? Why do you have to make it so easy for us, man?" Like, oh, jeez. All right, that's where my flag on the play goes, though. I mean, we know what happened in the NFL slate. I think that Browns and Vikings game was, it's absolutely insane that we did not see it. Uh, Bacon 23 said, Jared, do you just avoid social media? Look, we're
Hey,
busy,
what?
man. We got a lot of stuff on our plate right now. We don't have time. I have time for social media, but Jared does not have time for social media.
No, I have zero time during the NFL season to look at anything outside of
Yeah,
football. So I know that this was football, but it wasn't. So
it wasn't.
I I like being in this spot where Josh shows me things and I get the first reaction to you guys. So
I think it's
uh,
best for you guys too that we get his first reaction on the show. I think that's absolutely hands down one of my favorite parts of the morning after show.
this seemed like it could have been something that we totally smashed Jason Garrett on, but this is a new low for Urban Meyer for sure.
We're gonna go to Urban Meyer Wednesday. We have Jason Garrett Tuesday, Urban Meyer Wednesday. I don't think it would last that long. I think the segment would be over in the next few weeks. So it is what it is. All right, I don't have the BOL screen prepared, Jared. So we're gonna talk about underdog mentality. There's not many plays to talk about because we don't have baseball today. underdog mentality. Any bets jump off the page for you though? For maybe some props that jump off the page for tonight's game, or what are you
Sure.
thinking here?
So right now we have the Chargers as -3 favorites in LA. So they're playing at SoFi tonight. The Raiders are coming in with a really really good season start to their season. I think that the Chargers are going to win, but honestly, I think it's a really good opportunity to get Raiders at plus money at plus 149 at Bet Online for the money line. So I'm not going to say like I don't want to lean one way or the other. My lean is the Chargers, but I do think this is a sneaky spot where the Raiders could pull one out here on the road.
Yeah, just looking at the daily boosters for the day. Here they are. Raiders to score over 24.5 points was plus 105, now plus 150. Chargers to score over 27.5 points was minus 115, now plus 125. Derek Carr to have over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I feel like that's free money almost.
Yikes.
It's at minus 115. That's ridiculous odds. Herbert over 303 yards was minus 114, now is plus 125. Eckler TD and Chargers win was plus 108, now plus 150. And Herbert over 300 yards and Chargers win was plus 152, now plus 200. You have a lot of good odds there, guys. I would suggest taking advantage of them. I feel like the Derek Carr over 1.5 TD passes. I mean, Jared, correct me if I'm wrong. That feels like free money almost.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I like the Herbert over 300 yards too.
Yeah, I like Herbert over 300 yards too. I think that's a solid bet as well. All right, we're to the end of the show. We got through it. I know we talked a lot about NFL today, but we'll make sure to divvy things more out next or tomorrow and throughout the week. There is a little bit of a change with not scheduling. Is there a change of scheduling in this show or just strong side show throughout the week due to me
No?
on vacation?
Uh Yeah, no. We're gonna continue to do everything at 10 a.m. Obviously, we were an hour later today, but we'll be back for you guys 10 a.m. Tuesday through Friday.
Yes, definitely. Guys, make sure to pay attention to Anthony with esports. Make sure to pay attention to football and, hang around in the chat. I'm sure we'll do some fun things throughout the week, even though there is no MLB there's no regular season MLB slates anymore and no podcast until NBA comes back. But just make sure to stick around. Make sure to hang out in the Discord and we'll do some fun things in there. As always, my name is Joshua Reimer. Good morning and good skill.